Thanks for having me.
A pleasure. All right, up next on Business Edge, there are a couple of shifts within the payment system space. 2025, some have already dubbed the year of the stablecoin. Recall that in 2024, total crypto trading volume hit 18.4 trillion naira. When it comes to stablecoin, it topped $200 million, not naira, dollars, in 2024. And some of the big banks are paying attention to some of these moves. U.S. banks, including JPMorgan Chase, Bank of America, Citigroup, as well as Wells Fargo, are reportedly in early talks to develop a joint stable coin, according to Wall Street Journal. The initiative is still in conceptual phase. It may involve a model that allows broader bank participation. Beyond the consortium founding members, regional banks are also said to be weighing a separate stable coin project. So a lot happening within that space. Joining us now to discuss, we have Ola Atose, the CEO of KoinKoin Exchange. It's great to have you in. Ola. Seems like you're muted, but hopefully you can unmute and we can dive into the conversation. If we can have you unmute your mic. Again, a lot is happening in the stablecoin space. I think we have you now. So, I mean, what is the case that is building, Sola, for stablecoin globally right now? What is the case strength? What is strengthening the case for stablecoins?
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Stablecoins, yes, let's get into it. So the current market capitalization for stablecoins is to the tune of $247 billion. A lot of the international banks, JPMorgan, Citibank, to name a few, are all obviously eyeing this space and now looking to put together an initiative which will allow them to participate in the stablecoin market. And of course, stablecoins, as we know them, the more popular ones are pegged to the US dollar, and they allow for ease of transactions around the world. And of course, you know, as we have always suspected, at some point, the traditional finance space, the big banks would foray into this space, and you know, it looks like that's what's about to start happening.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we know that there are already existing private options like USDT, USDC, but now we're having a bank-backed stablecoin, or conversations around, it's not there yet, the conversations around a bank-backed stablecoin. Let us into how this could differ from the private options, especially in terms of regulation, trust, and use case.
So there are some regulations which are currently in space. You know, a number of different jurisdictions have, you know, the virtual asset services provider regulation, which of course Nigeria has as well. But a number of jurisdictions around the world also have it. In the United States, where this is being spearheaded, there are new regulations in place, such as things such as the Genius Act, which is, I believe, passed, you know, the Congress over there, you know, which will allow banks to now begin exploring, you know, how they can be part of this business, and of course how they can, you know, be involved in what's already a multi-billion-dollar, you know, industry. So there are, you know, a lot of hurdles, of course, that the banks would need to jump through to be able to participate. But of course, the technology is already in space. There are a lot of things which are in place, which will allow for the banks to get involved, you know, at this point.
All right, like you have pointed out, a I would say trillion at this point, dollar industry, the crypto space. I will delve deeper into the conversation. We have Ola Atose, CEO of KoinKoin Exchange, joining us for the conversation. More on it after the break. You're tuned in to Business Edge, and of course we are talking stablecoins, as some of the biggest banks are exploring whether to team up to issue a joint stablecoin. Joining me for this conversation is Mr. Ola Atose, the CEO of KoinKoin Exchange. Thank you for staying with us.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. Now let's get around to how this could potentially improve the banking system as a whole, and how Africa, of course, they're the big banks in the world who are having this conversation, Should African banks, Nigerian banks also be a part of this conversation? What are we doing within that space, the stablecoin space?
Yes, of course. So there are a number of conversations as it pertains to Africa. Of course, there's the fact that we still have over 48 different currencies on the continent, and the view for us to find a way to work more closely together, sort of an intra-Africa business can be made more buoyant, if you like, with stablecoins. And I'm sure that the regulatory chiefs, the central banks across Africa, are looking at this with a keen eye to see how each sovereign nation can benefit whilst keeping maintaining the sovereignty and obviously the impact of their own local currencies.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, indeed, as well, this move, apparently the stablecoin that these big banks are talking about will be banked by the dollar. Trump right now, and we know he's known as the crypto president pretty much, and he likes a good deal. So what does he stand to gain from this? What does the dollar stand to gain from this? And how do you see this affecting other currencies and other countries?
In the digital asset space, specifically with ourselves at KoinKoin, we have a number of regulatory initiatives that allow us to protect obviously local currencies to ensure there's no creep, on value of currencies in the nations which we operate and those that we wish to operate. So that's something which I feel the big banks will have to bear in mind. As far as President Trump is concerned, I think you hit the nail on the head. He does like a good deal. And of course, who doesn't like a good deal? But the reality is that even with what the president wishes to achieve with some of his own initiatives, the idea of a stable economy, a stable worldwide economy when it comes to currencies is critical. And whatever we do with stable coins as it may apply to the US dollar particularly, has to be, done with some tact to ensure there's no greater slippage, in the world economy. And I'm sure President Trump and his advisors are looking closely at that to see how they can ensure that it's whatever the private banks intend to do is done safely. But ultimately, from President Trump's perspective, we'll be looking to see how America can benefit from it above and beyond other countries. And to that end, it would be wise for each nation to look to see how they can be involved, of course, with Nigeria. What can Nigeria do to ensure that, Nigeria comes out winning, from such an initiative? What can we do with the local Nigerian banks? Of course, at KoinKoin, we have a number of ideas, and we're expressly trying our best to work with a number of local banks to see, what we can do so that we can bring that benefit to Nigerians and, of course, to Nigeria as a whole.
Yes, I mean, there's so many benefits with this use, especially when it comes to the cross-border payment system space. And you have hinted at a couple of risks. So, I mean, let's stick with that, especially from a regulatory standpoint. What are the potential risks or regulatory hurdles that a bank-backed stablecoin might face in the U.S. Financial system and the world at large?
I think from the U.S. financial system, the risk with stable coins is low, largely because we still have the U.S. dollar as the sort of the global reserve currency. So in the U.S., the idea that you can have stable coins in line or sort of the technology, the blockchain tech, which allows for more transparency in ledger transactions over, what's, the older technology, which is SWIFT. I don't think it will affect the U.S. Economy per se. It's other nations around the world that need to have a plan on how they protect their economies and their currencies from an explosion of stable coins beyond what we already have. As I hinted earlier, the current market is to the tune of $350 billion capitalization of stable coins. So if that gets bigger, how does that impact other markets other than the US? Right. So that's something which I would say that local banks, especially in Nigeria, need to be cognizant of and need to have a plan around on how they can maintain, an economic feasibility and stability, in this modern era with new technology and everything else that's happening.
I mean, I look forward to seeing how we do engage with this innovation and, of course, come up with the necessary regulation to contain it. Thank you very much for joining us, Ola Atose, CEO, KoinKoin Exchange, for joining us on this conversation.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
A pleasure.